Here we are, my workshop, listening to some music. I'm working on my logo. So what my logo is right now is I got this wood cut into ease, and I'm painting them to give the illusion of depth. So this is the first top part that I'm working on right now. I'm painting that white, and then everything else is going to be blue underneath it. I wanted to start doing this because, I don't know, in a lot of ways the pandemic has felt really inspiring in a weird way, like to do things differently or to kind of like really hone my balance of my introvert extrovertness. But even in that, kind of feeling inspired and feeling in a lot of ways the most creative I've felt in a long time, it's also really lonely. And I saw this cool video that kind of explained this concept called ambient proximity. And it was this idea that we spend a lot of our time, before the pandemic, just even around other people or around other ideas or just listening, coffee shop, space, working with other people and not on the same thing, working independent. As Carla, my friend and co-writer, calls it, solo together. And so with the pandemic, how we solo together has shifted. And we don't have these opportunities to hang out with each other doing our own projects. When I had been kind of envisioning my workshop, where I'm at right now, which is like, in a lot of ways, the culmination of like my dream space for my whole life, really. I set it up that there would be space for other people to be here, because that would be like my dream come true. It would be like having my brothers in here, working on projects either that were bouncing off each other or playing together or, creating, getting feedback and having some other people who I like and want to work with and like their work to just be together in the area. But obviously I'm not inviting anybody over to my workshop right now. And that's a bummer. So this video about the idea of how we can create digital kind of versions of ambient proximity really sounded good to me. And it was this idea that you can just hang while I'm doing my thing and just have this in the background and, let the creativity kind of steep over you, or just have it on as something to check in with in terms of connection. But I don't know, the idea really resonated with me, and I've been shy about it because I'm shy about everything kind of. And, I think in a lot of ways live under this illusion that I'm going to go into secret by myself and create awesome stuff that then I'm going to put out to the world, and the world's going to go, oh my God, that's awesome stuff. But I don't really think it works that way. In fact, I know it doesn't work that way. And it's never really worked for me. It just ends up having me feel like isolated or separate from the people that I want to show my work to or create to. So my goal is to get over it, and is to embrace the awkwardness that you're hanging out with me right now, or you're not hanging out with me right now. But the opportunity's there, and it was really easy actually to just do it. So here I am doing it. And it kind of feels exciting, actually. It feels futuristic. So I hope you come back other times, because I'm going to do this more often, and I'm going to grow into this, and I'm going to see what this is, all while doing something I would be doing anyway, which is painting this logo. I'm really excited about this logo because I've been working on this for a while, and when I started my company, Easton Unlimited, a couple years ago, of course, needed a logo, and I was very like unprecious about it, which I liked. I thought that was a great exercise to know that my logo was going to evolve and change with my business as I was. And at that point, my business was really just a pass through for my freelance work so that I could deduct my travel and deduct computer things and stuff like that as I was freelancing in commercial work. And, I didn't want to like overthink my logo and spend time forever. What's the perfect representation of me? And it's not, it's a logo. It's an image that's just supposed to, remind you of me when you see it, basically. So I knew I wanted to play with the concept of what the unlimited part of Easton Unlimited is. And then the other part of it is that it's the E of Easton. So I did a quick Google search for, I think, those words, and buried deep down in the Google search, was this E with kind of like falling into infinity. And right away I knew that was like the perfect one for me. So that was my logo. I just used that, and I played with it a little bit. I think I put like an Instagram filter on it or something like that to make it a little bit more personalized. But otherwise, it was just this thing. And so I knew that when the time was right, or I guess in the back of my brain, I thought, okay, when the time is right, I'm going to like play with that. I'm going to evolve it. And so fast forward to the COVID era and my need to do something different and to kind of figure out, okay, well, what is it that I've always wanted to do? What is it that I want to do? And so that kind of is where Easton Unlimited changed from being something that was just there for, logistical tax reasons into something that I was actively creating. I was actively inventing, okay, what is this? What's my dream job? What's the masterpiece of my life? All those metaphors, my big, hairy, audacious idea that inspiring business podcasts and books and stuff frame for you. And so when it started to grow, I kind of realized that I didn't like the staticness and the kind of artificialness of your typical logo that's like an Illustrator file or something that somebody's polished and tweaked and just kind of looks corporate and professional. Because I'm much more of a physical, hands-on, show me the hands of the creator and the artwork type of person. And so I thought about how that would translate into my logo. And I, at the same time, kind of learned about this business that's nearby me called Yamaguchi, which does incredible design work and makes these cool things. And one of the things that they do a lot of is wood burning. And so they do etching, and they do a lot of it on like pallet wood and old cigar cases, and they just turn kind of trash into really cool stuff, and they're just cool artists. So just kind of looking at that and thinking that what I wanted was a three-dimensional version of that image, that E with the infinity, that was in the E with the infinity, it was mocking, or it was not mocking, rather, it was giving the illusion of depth with the way that it was, which is what I liked. So what I wanted to do was replicate that in a 3D sculpture, for lack of a better word, that would replicate depth in layers. And so it was kind of a tricky problem for Yamaguchi to like figure out. But he was up for the task, and he did a phenomenal job. And what he did was I got a 2-for-1, because that was really exciting and cool, because what I have kind of was just what the main design that I gave him was this, basically the negatives of the E, where the E has been cut out. And that's what I'm painting right now. That's my first task. But what was so cool is that additionally, I got the positive of the E, like the piece that came out of here. And that is another version of the logo, which I'm super excited about to play with. And if I really want to get tricky with it, we'll see if I do. It actually, obviously, because it came from it, it could fit right inside of here, nestled in, like a nesting, because it was cut from here. So we'll see. That might be a third iteration or something. I don't know. I'm just excited that this is kind of growing organically and becoming whatever it is as it does. And so what I plan to do too, because it was just awesome, and this is like hit upon all my, I don't know, kind of philosophies about what branding is and my thoughts about what's possible to kind of separate from the boringness of everyday type stuff, that stuff that you scroll through on Instagram and it all looks the same. And, and if that's your thing, then that's fine. That's what makes the world go around. Your idea doesn't, my idea can't exist too. But what it does is it creates this physical 3D object that can just be modified and varied all the time. So like this is what I was saying, sorry, that my timer gave me a throw of my train of thought. But what I was thinking and what I was trying to say was that in the shop, when I picked it up, there was like 3 other people there, and everybody was kind of looking at this object that I had now, these 2 E's. And it was just like spitball time, like idea fest, oh, you could put it behind this. You could put a mirror behind it and make it infinity, really making an infinity illusion. You could put fabric behind it, different piece of fabric, to just put as the background. You could paint it, you could stain it. It was just so many different ideas that I was like, yes, all of those are awesome. And that's what I want to do regularly, is I want to just, keep this being a living sculpture and photograph and take video of the pieces and the different versions of it. But then, whether fancy strikes me or I have the time or, suddenly I'm feeling that need for a switch up, to just play with it and to see what different versions I can come up with. And that was really appealing to me because, I don't know, I think in what I'm trying to do with my business is to really embrace the creative from an art standpoint and see where that edge blends over and leads into the marketing aspect of things. And I just think that we're ready for it because, let's face it, like most marketing is really boring, and it's really just like one size fits all and not customized. And it kills me. It's not cheap either. And I guess my dream is to think about where that money could get spent in a way that's different, that like breathes things into the world or brings things, helps enable things to get brought into the world that otherwise wouldn't, and like what that then can do to speak for a business's brand, basically, and that their brand is about that. Like, what would that do for the world? I think it would be pretty awesome. So yeah, there's something in that to me about the not being fixed, not being static, instead changing, evolving, kind of being a lot of things, unlimited. And that's the unlimited part, right? Is that we're all a lot of things. We're not just, one little box that we kind of feel the pressure to be put in, I think, often. And I want that. And I want to like grow that in myself and in other people. The amount of people I know who have good business ideas or are passionate and excited and have like are really creative, but they don't see how, that fits into the standard, social media landscape or something. And I don't think it does fit into that. I don't think that the goals are necessarily the same. And I think that that's kind of set up to be problematic from the beginning. So yeah, well, I just finished this coat. I'm putting it on, and I messed up and I put it blue. It was beautiful, beautiful dark blue. It was so great, but I realized that I didn't actually want that on the top E, that I wanted this like kind of off-white, more lighter color on the very top, which is fine. I was mad at myself for like 1 second, and then I said, that's okay. I'm just gonna paint it white and make it the way I want it to be and not settle. Because if this is a growing, evolving thing, it just grew in a way that didn't work. And so I brought it back. Yeah, so, well, this was the first one of workshop time with David. I actually enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back here, because it's way better working with other people than it is working by yourself. Solo together.